Hey everyone, welcome to the Entrepreneurs Club podcast. I'm Carter McKinney. I have my amazing guest, Jevata Crawford Bosket today. She is here. She is a new author.
Yes.
She's the founder of Project Move.
Yes.
And so many other things. So we have an amazing person here today to enlighten you about her entrepreneurial journey. And we're here at VentureX in Bethlehem. Shout out to VentureX and Terry for allowing us to be here today. And let's get right into it. So Jevata, please introduce yourself to the people, for the people that don't know you, please.
Oh, there are people who don't know me? Okay. Well, hi, I'm Jevata Crawford. I am the founder of Project Move, and we are a boutique downsizing, relocation, helping people move firm. I am stepping into what I like to call my framework era, which I am happy to share more of that with you. But I am a move manager, a social scientist, as well as a friend and a person that just likes to have fun. So thank you, Carter, for having me with you today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to bring up a couple of the questions and topics that we had discussed off camera. So pretty much one of the things you touched on was showing up fully, right?
Yes.
So let's get right into showing up fully. We do have some really exciting stuff with your book and your business, but let's get into some of the topics that we discussed off camera. So showing up fully, that's important. That's a soft skill, right?
It is a soft skill, but it's also a very hard skill to actually be able to do.
That's
so
funny.
So say that really fast. Showing up fully is something that I realized that I actually wasn't doing. Believe it or not, people say, oh, when you're here and everything. But showing up fully to me at this moment means that I am comfortable in who I am and the products and services that I offer, that I express them with confidence, that I am that person that when you see me, you know me, you can feel me, and that when I look in the mirror, I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy that that's me. And so is it a soft skill? Yeah, it's very much a soft skill. But is it hard? Yes. It's very much hard too. So if you want to know, it's a hard and a soft skill.
I love that. Absolutely. So for those people that have trouble showing up fully, what are like 3 things that they can do to like show up fully? Like maybe being unapologetic about who they are and making sure that they represent themselves the best that they can.
So I'm just going to walk you through the framework that I have in my book, because that actually helped give me the language to show up fully. Because one of the things that I have realized is that a lot of times you don't even know the words to express what that means for you. And so what I have done in this book, which is about moving, because I tell people moving is that you're in one place and you want to go to another place. Mm-hmm. But the key takeaway is to understand why you're in one place and you want to go to another place. And so the soft skills that people need to take with them when they're moving from one place to the other. So I should probably give you a warning. This book is not a how to move. So if you're looking for the how to pack a box, how to do the tactical stuff, I'm going to tell you to do a Google search.
There you go.
This book is really looking at the tangible skills to say, how do I move from where I am, even if it is a physical move, to my next location? And so how do you show up fully? You have to understand the language to be able to show up fully. So you have to be able to start asking ask yourself questions like who do I want to be? Who do I like? What do I want my business to look like? Mm-hmm. What do I want my family to experience because I have a business? What do I want to experience because I have a business? These are the same questions that you're asking as you're picking up those tactical things. You need to be asking those intangible questions as well. And so that's one of the things that I learned writing a book. I used to say entrepreneurship was the hardest self-help thing that you ever done, but I'm almost going to think that writing a book it's coming in, either it's going to edge it out or it's going to be a close second.
Yes.
It is one of those things where you will learn things about yourself because now you are taking ownership of giving your story language. And that's something that we are not comfortable doing in general. So even in entrepreneurship, a lot of people struggle when they say, well, what is it that you do? And you'll say, oh, I help people or I do this one thing, but it's not that simple. You give people experiences, you give them freedom, you give them a service that allows them to go to their next level. And so that's where a lot of times just writing a book is reminding you that you need the language in order to be able to tell your story, who you are, what you're becoming. And that's something that I learned.
Absolutely. I love that, guys. So she's here today with tons of information. Take it, soak it up, and apply it to your own life. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs here that aren't as far along in their entrepreneurial journey as you. So that being said, they might be in the planning stage, in the just beginning stages of, hey, kind of lessening your hours at work and doing more entrepreneurial stuff and building their own clients. So what can you say to some of those people to help them get from working their job to working for themselves?
So the first thing I want to say is welcome to entrepreneurship. Like, it's a party and it's sometimes a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. So welcome. And the one thing that I would tell people is to be really good at whatever it is, the thing that you are going to be in entrepreneurship for. Now, regardless if you're starting small, you're starting jumping right in, going full time, the one thing you want to do is to be an expert in your chosen field.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, you want to be the go-to expert. Now, I can say when I started my business 10 years ago, did I know everything that I know right now? Of course not. However, I was with a mind to learn. I was like, how can I get more information? Who can I shadow? Who can I partner with so that I can have more information? What resources do I need? Now, I realize you're not going to have a ton of money. So you can't say, I can say, oh, now we can go buy services, right? When you're just starting out, you're not going to be able to do that. So that's why you have to be excellent in your service provider so that when you have to bridge into social media, you're excellent in it. You have the language to talk about it so that when you're on social media, you're saying those things. I learned those things, like I am an expert in my field. And one thing that is very good for me is that I am an expert in my field, so that if I'm not great at social media, I'm still an expert in my field.
In real life, yeah.
And so that when people say, oh, I didn't see her on social media, but she's very good, then all of a sudden, when you can get better at those, I call them ancillary skills,
yes,
then you will still be an expert in your respective field. So then you can come up. You're going to not have to be an expert in social media to get clients because you're an expert in your field. So that when you talk to people, you're an expert in your field.
An authority.
And
yes.
those things are so important. And the one thing that I would like all entrepreneurs to do is a values assessment. And the reason I say that is because you are often going to be challenged by your values. As you're doing business, you're going to have to understand what is important to you. Is it working all the time? Is it balance? What does that balance look like? Like, I have 3 words that I use when I'm working with clients, when I'm making business decisions, and it's really about authenticity. I want people to look at me and say, yeah, she's the person that she said she was. I want clarity. Like, I want to be able to say what I mean what I say. And that was something that I struggled with when I first started. Because people say, well, what is it that you do? And I go, I help people move. And they go, well, what does that mean? And then, you want to have those values in you so that when people talk about you, they go, yeah, she's authentic. She showed up when she said she was going to show up. And honest. She's honest. Because there are certain jobs, they have to trust that you get their vision. They have to trust that you're going to handle their particular project like it was your own. And so those are things that if you have a very strong skill set, you have your core values very clearly outlined, when you're talking to people, they'll see it. And they'll be excited to bring that into their fold because they're like, okay, this person is going to do what they said. They're great at their job. And it's okay. They can still be new, but they're great at what they do. And they have the value system that they are aligned with. Those are the things that I would tell, regardless of what stage entrepreneur you're in, you want to make sure that those are the things that you're communicating.
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of authenticity and clarity, like those are some things that are extremely important, especially in something that's so personal, like moving.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the things that you were talking about in your book were the facts that it's so highly personal what you're doing and
Yes.
moving, so you have to almost unpack, no pun intended.
Oh, I love it.
those different
Just to let you know, we're going to use so many moving terms. I just love it. I love it.
You have to unpack some of those, things that you've been holding on to.
Yes.
Or one thing I believe that you're so big into is decluttering,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So can you go into that? Because isn't it Throw It Out Thursday?
It is Throw It Out Thursday. Oh, it's so exciting.
And that's today. So
That's today.
Why don't you talk about Throw It Out Thursday and decluttering a little bit?
So I want to give you a little background on Throw It Out Thursday. One of the things that I was not good at, and I am increasing my skill set, Throw It Out Thursday was my attempt to create something that I would do every week. Mm-hmm. Like when I tell people, like they're like, oh, I'm going to post 3-4 times a day and all this stuff. Like depending on what your business model looks like, it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
To also provide service, manage, face clients.
Yes. And to actually have good content for 3 posts a day.
Yes.
That's difficult as well. Some days it's easy. Other days you're like, okay, what am I going to do? So I one of my friends who does social media, she was like, pick one day and do one thing. Mm-hmm. And I said, would I choose Throw It Out Thursday again? I don't know. But, I like the name when I came up with it. And it's like, it sticks. And so Throw It Out Thursday is a weekly post. It was an opportunity for me to talk to people about decluttering and how they can start the process. Because a lot of times, like people feel like you got to do like big expressions of decluttering, where they think, oh, you got to go through your whole house. It's going to be a whole thing. And I wanted to tell people, if you do these in small steps, you'd be surprised at where you will be at the end of the year. There are 52 opportunities for you to do something. So one week we did, which was a lot of fun. I did my sock drawer. Now, everybody has a thing that they love. I love socks. So winter's here, so we're about to get into sock season. So, but don't be going to get me no more socks because I got plenty. I love socks that are fun. They don't even have to match what you have on. They just need to be interesting. And no, I do not have on socks today because we're still kind of pretending like it ain't socks season
we're
yet.
pretending like it's not cold outside.
We're still pretending.
We live in Pennsylvania. It's
We're still
after
pretending. So I really got to go into sock season. And what sock season, I was like, okay, I had 2 big drawers of socks. Now keep in mind, you only wear 1 pair of socks a day, and I do laundry probably once a week. So now let's think about how many pairs of socks are in 2 big things of socks. And that's when I realized that I had too many socks. Like, even though I love them, they're my heart. They're my heart. And you could probably give me some cool ones. Like if you gave me some McKinney Media socks, I would totally rock them.
I would some McKinney Media socks. Guys.
And I would totally take the post of me drinking hot chocolate with my socks up. I would totally do it because I love socks and I love slippers. So
I gotta do that.
So it's one of those things where it's like we're gonna wear them. So I had the sock drawer. So I took all of my socks out, and I could not believe that I had 2 big drawers of socks. And I had not seen many of those socks for a long time because, they get to the bottom of the drawer. So then I decided that I needed to consolidate my sock drawer. So I was willing to only have 1 drawer of socks, which meant that half of my socks had to go away. Now, that's what Throw It Out Thursday is. It's realizing that you have 2 big drawers of socks, but you realize that there's no example in the world where you're ever going to have to wear all of these socks and not have had an opportunity to do laundry.
Yes.
And so that's the premise behind Throw It Out Thursday. It's the telling you that, why do I have 12 bottles of lotion? Like sometimes I don't even put on lotion. So, and sometimes it shows. But it's really about understanding, like that favorite candle that you love, I want you to burn it. Like that's what Throw It Out Thursday. It's like, use your stuff, making sure that you don't have a counter full of stuff. Like I also pulled out my everything out of my bathroom cabinets. Let me just tell you, you don't know how much stuff you have until you take it all out of the drawer. And it kind of makes you wonder, how is it possible that all of this stuff fit in there? So when I talk about decluttering, this is me living it too. Like, that's where my authenticity comes from, where it's not like I'm not telling you stuff that doesn't impact me as well. If there is a thing that you love, you probably have too many of those things. Like, I love journals. Let me just tell you, I just realized I got too many of those too. Like, the whole thing is when you think about it, whatever you love, you tend to have too many of them. And so then you have to figure out how to like make it so that you have a bumpers, like, you know, when you remember when we used to ride in the little bumper cars, and the bumpers would make it so that I guess you didn't jump and go in the parking lot. So the idea is that when you're decluttering or clearing a space or creating the space for yourself, create some bumpers for you so that you understand that if I go over this, I can't do it. So my husband, like, you know, he goes to a lot of conferences and events, and they like to give out mugs.
A lot of freebies.
And I tell people, which is a challenge because, you know, I have a whole book to promote and, you know, a promotions table, and people are like, you need to have merch, you know, you need to have something to give people. And I have a challenge with that because I'm the person that's saying, don't bring that stuff home.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Stuff that's intentional.
Yeah, it really needs to be intentional because do you really need another coffee cup?
I probably do.
Oh, okay. Well,
maybe one.
Okay.
If it's my favorite one, my new favorite one.
Okay. Well, then that means that you got rid of one that wasn't your favorite, correct?
Okay, sure. Yeah. Because they also like break and stuff.
Exactly. So if you're continually like recycling so that this one is old, I'm not using this one anymore, I'm bringing in a new one, I'm completely fine with that. But again, you have bumpers. Like, this cabinet is all you have for your cups. And that means that cups can't go in the cabinet where food goes. You know, you want to have bumpers for that.
I think having the rule, if you bring something in, something has to go. I think that's really cool.
It's a cool rule. It's not easily lived.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's one of those things where it's hard because, like, say you bring in some new socks. Do you get rid of a coffee cup?
Yeah.
Because now something's left, but you still haven't solved the problem.
Yeah, you haven't solved the problem.
So that's where Throw It Out Thursday came out. And I am so excited that I've been consistently doing it and people respond to it. I shifted it to it starts now on my business page instead of my personal page because I'm working on, you know, as an entrepreneur, when you first start, all you have is your personal page.
Yeah.
You don't have a business page. You don't have the business contacts because, like, you can post on that business page, but nobody's seeing it because nobody has tagged into your business page.
Not
so
yet,
a lot of times when you start as an entrepreneur, you'll start on your personal page just to let your friends and family go, hey, by the way, I'm in business. And then you'll say, please follow me on my business page. And they'll be like, yeah, whatever. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But now, because of where I am in business, they now start on my business page and then I share them on my personal page.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, you can definitely invite some of your friends and connections on your personal page to like your business page, especially on Facebook. You can click the little 3 dots on your Facebook page on the business page, and you could say invite friends, and you can invite up to 1,000 at a time. So that's definitely good. And then on Instagram, I do like the collab posts. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes.
So doing the collab posts, like for example, the Entrepreneurs Club is a brand that's smaller compared to, you know, my personal page, McKinney Media, stuff like that. And then obviously great, you know, co-hosts and guests. I'll collab with them and then we'll all share audience and content. So that's definitely something to note. I definitely wanted to touch on the next thing. So I just wanted to touch on owning your voice. So that's definitely very kind of similar to showing up fully, but you also talked about owning your voice. So what does that mean to you, owning your voice, and how can our listeners implement that in their lives?
So the first thing to think about is you want to know what it is you're saying and you want to practice. Like, a lot of people believe that it's so much better to speak off cuff. Like, you just like I'm a move manager. I help people move. I'm so great. I do all these things. And one of the things that I have found is that the more you read, the more you study, and I'm not even saying studying about your particular industry. It's like, like you're only as great as the last thing you looked at, really. And so like, are you following other podcasts to kind of see what they're doing well? Like, how did they get 1 million views? Was it, like, what was their formula? Looking at other social media that has done very well, and then finding people that you like how they present themselves, you like how they speak, reading books to understand how other people are talking. What does that conversation look like? Because when you own your voice, that means that you know it, that you have a certain cadence, you have a certain way that you present. So for example, one of the things that I know I can do is that I can post long text without putting a picture on it, and people read it, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas that might not be something that you can actually do, because it's so funny, because like when I talk to other people, they're like, how come people read your long text? And I said, well, that's the voice that's my voice. They know that if I finally get on social media and give you long text, it's actually something meaningful. It's not like I'm just telling a story like, hey, I saw a dog walking down the street. I just want to tell you about the dog. It's really like something happened. And so, but one of the other things that I have also learned is that your voice, you need to ask people how they hear it and how it's presented. Like, I was on a masterminds call this week, and one of the things that they explained to me is that they were like, people want to know your process, Jevati. They want to know how you came to this long form text, like what got you here.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, people care about what I'm thinking about?
Absolutely, they do.
And I was like, and they were like, yeah, they want to see what you see when you go to see a client. They want to know what it's like when you walk up to the door to say, this is like, I'm here. Like, they want to know, what questions are you asking? What's in your bag? And I said, people care about those things? And they were like, yeah, you're going to be surprised that a lot of people care about those things. So that was something that, like, when you own your voice and you know your voice, it was like, you know it, and it's like, it's in you. And sometimes you have to figure out how to share it. And so that's where, for me, the confidence and feeling who I am and what I am, like, but again, being an expert helps. Because when you're an expert, you can, like, some of the things that other people are doing that you may take for granted, you kind of get to jump over those things.
Absolutely, yes. It can be so daunting to try to find your own voice and show up fully when you're first starting your business, because that's when you're most vulnerable.
Yes.
A lot of jobs and families are saying, no, you can't do that.
Yes.
You can't do that. You won't make it if you leave this job, So that's the kind of tricks that the world will try to play on you. And the message that you're putting out is very helpful to people. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about your book, Moving in Place. You have an amazing event coming up.
Yes.
In early December of 2025. This is going to be seen in the future. But tell us a little bit about your book, your process, especially like for those that are aspiring authors like myself. How long did it take you? What kind of budget do you have to do this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And your event as well.
So I don't know if people journal, but I am a journaler. So I was like, what can I say today that would be very interesting? So I pulled out a journal. Okay. And this was when I was going to do these 30 days to decluttering to move, as you have all these different ideas. This is from September 1st, 2022. So that just gives you a background. It says, create your decluttering move plan. I use the moving methodology, which is what's in this book. This is from 2022. Mm-hmm. This is where these notes are. It's like motivation. It's your why, your organization. How are you going to put it together? Have your visions and values. Whose involvement for the I, your now to your next. And then we have growth for G. And so here I've been thinking about this since 2022, and probably before then because I actually wrote it down in 2022. And so when you think about, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to tell my story, I tell people to start writing it down. Like write it down in like rough form, write it down as a social media post, but get your thoughts written down.
Stored somewhere.
This is you storyboarding. This is your storyboard where you're just telling the story in your own head. Before you can tell that story to someone else, you have to be able to tell that story to yourself, and you have to be able to believe it.
Yes.
Like you can't like I always knew, like one of the things that I love doing, which is kind of a weird thing. I love words, and that's just one of the things I love. You know, with socks and words. So if you put words on the socks, then I'm probably gonna be all in it. But one of the things that we used to do when we were kids is that, you know, like you would take your name and like for each letter you would write, you know, like you would say something about it, and that would be how you would describe it.
Okay.
And so that's where this coming up with moving. How could I describe moving using each one of the letters? So like if we were going to use Carter, we would say C is for creativity because he uses that every day in his job. The A is for actionable because he is like not going to let you not get your next action steps done. R is for ready because he's like ready all the time. I'm like, Carter, slow down.
Yeah.
The T is for you know, time management. He helps you with systems and tools to get everything. E is energetic because, gosh, sometimes I'm like, where do you get all the energy from? And the second R is for right now. He is a good friend and a good person that I like to be around.
Oh, thank you so much.
And so like then you're telling the story. So it's like a way that you can use to introduce yourself. You can use your own name to kind of come up with characteristics about yourself and how you'd want to communicate to someone. So that's how I came up with the moving methodology. I started using the words like what would do it. So like moving, think about like you're moving and you're like, oh my God, where am I going to start? But then I say, what's your motivation? And then as I was writing the book and I was talking to some of the beta readers, I would say you have to have people that you can bounce ideas off of. Now, keep in mind, everybody ain't going to be good for that job.
Yeah, and some people won't respond.
Some people won't respond, and some people will tell you stuff that you don't even care to hear because and that's okay too. But you want to figure out, you need a core group of people that when you are stuck or you're brainstorming, that you can kind of have that conversation with.
How many people do you think that was for you or is for you?
So it was, I would say that you have like I call these people like part of your circle. So these are your circle.
Your circle, yeah.
And I would say that each person has a different role. So there are certain people that, like, as I was trying to figure out what the cover should look like, these are people that I could throw pictures to and say, well, what does this picture say to you? But I wasn't asking them to read anything. I have another girlfriend that is very good at frameworks and putting, you know, like that's her jam, right? And so I was like, is this actually a framework? Tell me how this works. And so like when we were talking about it, so she would say, like when we were looking at motivation and mindset, and she was like, you can't get to your why if you don't do your visions and values first. And I was like, but M is before the V. And then she goes, that's okay. You remind people they don't have to do it in order.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know how like you're so keen on like just kind of like, these are the steps. These are the, do it like I said.
Do it
like I said. And so she was like, okay, so what you're doing is that each letter is a standalone. And so like all of a sudden that was like, you know, like that was like opening for me. And then she said, maybe it's not just one word. So originally it was just motivation. And then she said, but you need mindset. And then you're making space. And so then I was like, oh my goodness, maybe all of them have 3 words. And so then, you know, like that opened up an avenue for me to have a pathway. And so then I'm having conversations. So, you know, so like then you're looking at visions and values so that your voice is heard. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. Those are great V words. And then you have like I, which is involvement, intuition, and insight. And so then all of a sudden, like these words are bigger. and it became more robust. And so it's like having those people to, like, as you're writing, as you're brainstorming, saying, read this, what does this sound like? And I'm going to tell you that you also have this wonderful partner called AI.
Yes.
And the reason I tell you to say that is because, one, if you remember your grammar rules from when you were in school, I'm going to high five you, hug you, and be like, you are the person. But, like, where does the comma go? Is it a comma? Like, but dude, be careful. Like, you want to make sure that it's still your voice, but you want to also, like, AI can brainstorm for you. Like, you can say, is somebody else working on this same thing that I'm working on? Like, are they thinking of it like I'm thinking of it? So one of the things that that helped me, I was like, who else is doing a framework? Who else is doing this work? What else is it called? And so then they were like, well, look at what Brené Brown is doing. And what she's doing between vulnerability and courage. And what that did was, it was a gift to me, because I realized that I was being brave. And bravery is a form of vulnerability, because you have to be brave in order to say, I'm going to write a book and people going to be able to read it and tell me whether or not I suck or not. Mm-hmm. And that's a bit of bravery. And so then I was like, if I can be brave here, maybe I can be brave in other places.
Exactly. And it just grows.
And it just grows. And so that's why I said writing a book and entrepreneurship, they might be neck and neck for the best self-help experience. Absolutely,
yes. Honestly, using peer review has been one of the biggest things for me in my journey as well. So, I always say at least three of anything, 3 people to peer review, 3 quotes when you go to buy something new, or 3 people to consider for a new position or opportunity is so important. So I just wanted to touch as well on Project Move, right? So yes. The mission and the movement. So just talking about Project Move a little bit, plug your business, what services do you offer, where can you go, maybe like your service area, and a little bit about Project Move and the people that are part of it and the vision, the mission.
Okay, so the great thing about writing a book is that sometimes, like one of my peer reviews pointed out, she said, you're going to have to be in the book. And I said, no, I could just write a whole book about what it is I do. And they were like, no, people want to know you. And so Project Move, it started because I was let go from a job. And many businesses are going to be started because people lost a job.
Don't want the
job anymore. The job's not enough. That's a lot of reasons why businesses start. And so you may be in a season where you're like, I want something different. And so that's where Project Move started. I did not know anything about this industry. I didn't even know this industry existed. And I just did it because I had some friends that were like, you can do this. And I was like, oh, sure. So what started as a favor to a friend turned out to be something that I love and that I'm really, really good at. So what we do is that, I like to keep it simple, and I say we help people move. And people go, well, what does that mean? And so I want to say that we provide solutions for people as they are downsizing, estate clearing, relocating, or just have to reclaim their space. We are working on helping people to give you the language. That's what I learned in the book, is that the book is really helping people to get the language of moving, because you think all moves are the same. And what I found is that all moves are not the same. There are lots of different types of moves. So, for example, it may, what I like to call like merge and move, where it's like you move in with your significant other or you move out from your significant other. But either one of those that's a type of move. And that's a different type of an emotional experience that you're actually going through, rather than if I say your parents are going to assisted living and now you have to clear out their home. That's very different than merging households, and very different skill sets that you need. And so to be able to give people the language so that they can have that. So we help people who are downsizing, relocating, moving in together, moving out together, reclaiming their life after a traumatic event. It could be a divorce. It could be, a death. It could be any one of those things to help them with that experience. So I want to give an example of the types of services that we offer so that people are like, okay, well, but we're not a moving company. Can we get you a moving company? And should you work with us as you were interviewing your moving company?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. However, we do not own any trucks to actually do any moving. So, for example, working with a client that's doing a merge and move, which is they're going to be cohabitating. They both have houses, and one is going to move into the other house. Now, keep in mind, I did that same thing when I got married. My husband, he now moves into the house that I was already living in. So therefore, that merge and move, I'm very familiar with it. And one of the things is you have two of everything. And how do you decide? Like, how do you create the conversation to figure out what you're going to have, what you're going to look like? Because part of it is that you have to come up with a community home. And you have to start thinking of, this is our home, not I'm bringing my sofa, I'm bringing my bed. What does that community look like?
This is now our stuff.
Our stuff. So you have things that are not going to make it to the new space, and we help them to liquidate those things as well as help them to prepare the one house for sale. So it's like a lot of pieces to the puzzle that we help with, but it's really about, helping with the logistics, because most of the time, most people don't know how to sell anything online because they haven't had to do it. And now you're putting them in the most stressful time of their life where they're moving, and now you're saying, learn how to sell things online, figure out what you actually
all
need
the
to
hidden
have.
Things that people don't think about at face value.
Yes. And so we help with understanding that. I tell people that my superpower is project management because I get to remove some of the emotionalness, is that a word?
Yes.
From the conversation, and I help you to see it as a project so that you're not I can help you make a decision. So for example, if you have extra gym equipment, are we actually taking it to the new house? If we are, then there's a move. Then we have to decide where it's going to go. And it's not a simple conversation like, oh, we're definitely going to take the treadmill. And I say, great. Do you know where it's going to go?
Yeah.
And then they go, well, we have to move stuff in order to get it to go. And I said,
what stuff?
What stuff? And so then we go through the conversation. So I will be working with the house that is going to be, I tell them that I just start calling it our house because it's like all of us together. I tell people I'm so far in your business that don't even worry about it. You don't know where I stop and you start. So don't even worry about it. If you're wondering, I know. Like, I'm the one that knows. Like, your friends don't know, but I know. I know what choices you're making. I know why you're making those choices. That's one of the things that you get for our services, that now I'm your girl. And so that makes it fun.
Absolutely, yes. And that's the thing about Jevata's book, that at face value, like the move method, moving in place, the book, I just thought it was a lot of technical kind of things about moving, strategies, and to-dos, right? And she even says that there's a lot of workbooks, like it's basically a workbook. There's a lot of worksheets and different exercises to participate in. But the thing about the book that was very interesting to me was the fact that there's a lot of heavily emotional. You were saying that you take the emotion out of the project, and that's how that gives you an objective look at it. But again, like moving, I'm thinking it's just a bunch of physical things objectively being moved. But she talks about the things between the lines, right? The emotional things, like how to nurture yourself and all these things. So that's so important. I really am looking forward to finishing the book. I didn't finish it yet. I actually read it aloud to my fiance a few times, and that was very enjoyable. So do you want to touch on Nia in the book?
Okay, so one thing I want to tell you, because we talked about, like, as you're writing a book. So what I often do, and I learned this in another, like, I tell people that yes, you want to be in mastermind sessions, yes, you want to be in the company of other entrepreneurs, but one of the things that one of the groups that I learned was to research your topic, not like as your topic, but like for moving. So ask Google, what are people asking about moving? What are the top 5 questions that they're asking about moving? Where are they going to get their information? What's available? And the reason I say that is because what it does for you as you're writing your book, you can ask yourself, which question am I answering? And one of the things that the top thing that people search for was toolkits and resources. So I knew that if I wrote a book on moving and it didn't have toolkits and resources, I already missed the mark. So, because people are looking for those types of tools and resources, they're going to check to see if there are tools and resources in here. And then I had to decide what I wanted my tools and resources to look like. And I didn't need them to be duplicates of what you could find on Google.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but I still needed to have a cool toolkit. And so that's something that you want to talk about. So let's talk about Nia. Nia is a fun character. Nia is a composite character, which is kind of a fun thing to say. Mm-hmm. And when I was writing it, I did not realize that this was one of the more difficult ways to write, but here we are. Sometimes you just do it and then you find out that you did something that was hard.
Later.
And you're like, okay, yay, it was hard. But I chose Nia because Nia means purpose in Swahili. And so I was looking because you're purposeful moving, get it? And Nia is like all the characters wrapped into one. And the reason I did it that way is because when I first started writing, I was like, oh, I'll put case studies in here. And like each chapter will have its own little case study about a different move.
Yes.
And what happened was it was just becoming too watered down. It was becoming complex. And I realized, I was like, that's the one thing that you don't need when you're moving. It's something that's so heavy that you're like reading each individual chapter. So instead, I was like, if I put Nia through here, you'll be like, ooh, I wonder what she up to next.
Yeah. Because she's woven into every part.
Yeah. So you'll be like, well, what does she do? Like, how does she do it? And then you're like, oh, okay, but I kind of like her. So I'm going to follow along. So that was a fun addition to put her in the book and to make her one singular character that you can kind of tell that she's like different people because sometimes her character line doesn't flow 100%, but
that's intentional.
But that was intentional.
And that's what you say at the beginning of your book.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of things will come off a certain way, but it's so intentional.
Exactly.
And I think you actually repeated it twice.
Yes.
So it's definitely very interesting.
And so I got that feedback because I had sent it to my proofreader, and he said, Jevata, it just seems like it's a lot of things going on in here, and like tell me what you meant. And I said, but it was intentional. And he said, then you need to say it. And so that's where we got that added into the preface, and then we got that added into the introduction, so that some people skip the preface. So I needed to put it in the introduction. So, so it was kind of like you wanted to make sure that people understood that, yes, I'm going to write how I speak. I wanted it to feel like Jevata's like here with me. And sometimes people go, yeah, it's kind of like you were there. It's kind of weird, but that's neither here nor there. So
that's amazing.
That's a fun thing.
Yeah, that's almost like a part of scalability, which is also a big part of business, is that you found a way to take you and put it into a book that could be printed an unlimited amount of times in the same place everywhere all at once. So that's amazing. So I just want
which I did do it for scalability, because that was the other thing. It was like, how do you duplicate yourself?
Exactly.
And so this is a way to duplicate yourself. This is a way to, like as an entrepreneur, you cannot only make money when you're physically working, because then you will physically work for the rest of your life. And so that was like, like you've heard this all the time. You're like, how do I make money while I sleep? This is one way that you can make money while you sleep.
Yes. And the biggest thing for me is that work will live forever.
Yes.
And also like the future of your family can read and feel you within that book. Yeah. And having a work that outlasts you, it really is meaningful to not only the people that it impacts now, but also for generations to come.
Yes.
So that's great. So what are a few of your aspirations with the book? Like trying to get featured in maybe a favorite library or a place that you've visited or grew up around? Any of that?
So one of the things that I also researched as I was writing a book is that they said you don't write a book just for writing a book's sake. And you have to define what that ecosystem for your book is going to look like. And so that was also what I, had in mind, because as I was writing, I kept saying, is this bestseller energy? Is this bestseller energy?
Energy, yeah,
like, you know, like, is this best? Like, am I writing a bestseller? Because if I'm not writing a bestseller, then what am I doing?
What are we doing?
Then what am I doing? And then I, you know, saw some articles where, you know, like they were like, what does your book's ecosystem look like? Like, what are you building that like that's around and supports your book? Like, are you looking to do speaking engagements? Are you looking like, what is the longevity for your particular book? And those types of things are so important as you're writing, because if you write a book just because you need to get it off your chest, great, that's awesome. But then understand the budget for that. But if you're writing a book saying I got bestseller energy, then you need to understand what's the ecosystem. What am I also willing to do in order to promote it? How is it going to grow? What other avenues come from it? So like, for example, there may be additional workbooks. Like, you know, like, is there a journal coming? Like, what are the things that can come from this so that this has legs, so that this can actually grow? Will this grow my business? Is this a space like being an author totally will grow your business because it creates a level of authority. I like with clients. So if you want to be one of my clients, you get this. I get to like, hey, I'm Jevata. This is me sitting in front of
60,000 words to go through before you really come talk to me or something like that.
Well, it's both. It's a wonderful. It's a lead magnet. It's everything that you get to say. This is me. Like, if you like me,
this is it.
This is it. And then when you tell people I wrote a book and I'm going to bring you a copy at our consult, they're like, what? Because then they begin to research you. So now they're telling people the person that's coming to see them wrote a book. And they can get it on Amazon, which is also cool that you can pick this up on Amazon. Did I tell you that?
Exactly.
So those are the types of things that you get to be a bigger voice.
Exactly. And for the people that always want more, you want to kind of, in your business, you always want, and with your own personal brand, you always want to envision the people that will always want more about you.
Yes.
So that if they just had the time to go through everything how long would it take them? Mm-hmm. And this much furthers that number. So that's amazing. So you touched a little bit about Swahili. So where does that come from? And I hear that you're the queen of Kwanzaa.
Oh yeah, it's so fun.
And Kwanzaa candles. So can you tell us a little bit about Kwanzaa, a little bit about where that comes from, and how that has to do with you?
Okay, so during COVID, we were all in a place, right? And I celebrated Kwanzaa years ago, but I had stopped because celebrating Kwanzaa is one of those things where you're really like, well, how do I celebrate Kwanzaa? I get that question every year. And so I did a virtual celebration where I did 7 days. You could come in and I just had virtual activities. And so I did that in 2020 and I thought, cool, peace out. I'm going to be out. And then 2021, they were like, oh, what are we doing for Kwanzaa this year? And I was like, y'all were watching?
Yeah.
You wanted to see?
People are always watching.
People are watching. And so then it became like, okay, well, I'll do it 2021. They'll be sick of me for that after that. Well, they weren't sick of me. And then 2 years ago, I did the ABCs of Kwanzaa. Was it 2 years? I don't know how many years ago. But let me just tell you, that's when I don't know why. And keep in mind, I recorded these videos with my cell phone. Were they great? No. But I did it in my living room with my cell phone.
But they were valuable.
They were valuable.
They remembered.
And the group went from like 100 to like 2,000 members like that year, which is like exponential growth for the period of time. And so what I found is that people want to celebrate Kwanzaa, they just didn't know how. And so then I decided if Mariah Carey can be the queen of Christmas, that I could be the queen of Kwanzaa. So last year, being that, I wanted to be the queen of Kwanzaa, I recorded music, Kwanzaa music, which, by the way, is still available on Apple Music and Spotify. Just look up Jevata, and it's called, All I Want for Kwanzaa. This is a little shameless plug. Was I auto-tuned? Yes. I feel like just maybe I was ahead of the game because I could have just AI'd the entire thing. No, I did not. I just auto-tuned myself. So So I have 3 songs, and the reason I did 3 songs because I thought people would think 1 was an accident, 2 was crazy, 3 was like, okay,
This is something.
This is something. So last year we came out with what I like to call a Kwanzaa candle. And it was the idea to have a single candle to celebrate Kwanzaa instead of the 7 candles, because sometimes one of the hindrances celebrating Kwanzaa is there's so many supplies to celebrate Kwanzaa.
Yeah, it's a big investment.
And so it's a big investment. So I thought, well, let's just do a single candle. And if you look at the cover of Moving in Place, the candle is actually on the cover because I call that kind of like a grounding ritual. So it's part of who I am. So like as you're packing, you're like this whole cover, if I go through the cover, we have a box that says open first and it has like pink tape, and so that you make sure that it doesn't get lost. You have your different color tape, to seal the box, to mark the box. You have a plant because plant shows growth, and, you have to take your plants. And of course, a little Kwanzaa candle sitting there saying, ground yourself, making sure that you have your grounding rituals. And then, of course, who doesn't love a warm, comfy blanket? Mm-hmm. And so that's what the cover.
Warm, comfy blanket.
So, but the idea. Oh, and then of course you can see my good socks in there too.
I love it. Very intentional.
But the idea is that I can tell the story about this cover because when I first started, I was not going to be on the cover because I was like, I don't need to be on the cover. It's not like this book ain't really about me. Why do I need to be on the cover? My publisher was like, Jevati, you cannot have a cartoon character pushing a hand truck on the cover of your book. And I said, but why not? It's like it's moving. It's got the symbolism. And she said, it won't hit the same.
It won't hit the same.
And so, but I had to be brave enough to be on the cover because now this is what this looks like forever. And you don't understand, like bravery is before you get courage. Because it's very easy to say you're going to do something. Bravery is like actually doing it.
It's the start of courage, really.
And so that's where I was like, okay, I got to be vulnerable. Like, I got to have people to say, who does she think she is on the cover? Oh, I don't like her hair. Oh, like all the things that you start to think about yourself, that's what you start to think. And so those are, like cover design, that'll get you out of your comfort zone, just all of the pieces. And so writing this book will make me a better entrepreneur. It made me clean up my processes. It like all the things that I said I was going to be doing, I'm doing those things now. I'm using a CRM. I'm, communicating, telling people what I'm actually doing. And so, yeah, so as the Queen of Kwanzaa, it was like a step where I was like bold enough to record music. So I was like, well, if I can be in the recording studio, of course I can write a book. Absolutely. And so I think that each thing builds on your courage and like increases your courage muscle so that you can be brave, so that you can say, I'm going to be okay. And so that's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Jevati is a multifaceted person. We're always going to have people on the podcast and in the community that are multifaceted. That's what entrepreneurs are, right? So she's a move manager, an author, an MC, a rap
I know,
artist.
I'm a rap artist.
A rap artist. She didn't really say it too much, but she is really a rapper. That's what she did. So yeah, so much to offer. Let's see what else we have here before we close out. That's pretty much it. So in closing, this podcast is going to drop on your birthday.
That's so exciting.
Yeah,
Thank
it is
you.
exciting. So tell us a little bit more about just like your event that's coming up, your birthday, and what this time of year means for you. We live here in the Northeast, in Pennsylvania, and I just really enjoy the seasons here. And when it starts to get cold and you break out the jackets, I love my Carhartt jacket.
Oh, I know you do.
And, so what does, December mean for you? What does this time of year mean for you?
December is like, it goes so fast. Like, it's like you get through Thanksgiving and then it's like, depending on what day Thanksgiving falls, my birthday is like, it just comes up so quickly. We decided to do this book release in December because we weren't ready anytime before then, but but we got a very unique opportunity. So one of the services that we provide for clients are estate sales, where we help them to liquidate what's in their home that no longer serving them so that it can go on and live another life. So we are partnering with the Art House, which is a local art museum. And the art at their museum this time is going to be estate sale art, which means that you can actually purchase the things that are on the walls in the art gallery. And it's such a unique experience to be there during that time. So we wanted to be I want to try to be as intentional as possible so that the spaces that we use and the experiences that we have are real. And this was such alignment. One of the things that I didn't want to have, because my book is about moving. So it's not I could do dramatic readings. And yeah, maybe let me find something in here to dramatically read about how you should declutter your kitchen. But to be able to be in an experience so that people can see, oh, if I have fine artwork, there's a way for me to be able to liquidate that. And then also because they'll have variety. So high end, low end. And some of my clients are going to be able to have some things that are going to be in the estate sale as well. So it's a way for me to showcase that I have different resources and tools that will be available for you depending on what your situation is. And so that's so exciting. But December is very interesting because my family's from Virginia, and so we didn't get snow every Christmas. Some Christmas it was hot, some Christmas it was a lot of snow. But I remember that Christmas is about, and what Christmas is about. And when I was growing up, we didn't celebrate Kwanzaa. That was not something that was a part of my family. And the first time I introduced it to my mom, she was like, well, what is this? And so what I tell people that the holiday season, what Kwanzaa does, it allows you to have a cultural conversation so that you can talk about family legacy. You can talk about family history, things that you want to share. And it gives you an opportunity to celebrate cultural awareness.
Yes, in the community.
And one of the things that I want people to understand is that moving is a cultural experience. And so it's not too far that I find passion in both of these, because these are both cultural experiences about how we interact with culture and how it impacts us as we are, quote unquote, moving along the path. And so I encourage people to find out about Kwanzaa, find out ways that you can celebrate. One year I invited people to, on the 29th, which is about cooperative economics. And I invited people to find a Black business, an ethnic business, and support them. So what I usually recommend, the easiest way to do that is find a restaurant. Find a restaurant, make this their best day, make this a great business day for them. You may, my favorite word, just to let you know, my favorite word is kuchikachalia.
I was going to say.
Oh my gosh, it's my favorite word.
Is that the community economics one or no?
No, that's not. Kuchikachalia is about self-awareness, to make sure that you're true to yourself, which is about having your own voice.
Yes.
And so I love saying the word, and most people say, how do you even say it? But I love saying it. And, if you listen to one of my songs and it goes, what's my favorite word? Kuchikachalia, because it's all Nia. Yeah, I am a rapper, yeah.
That's great. There you go.
So it's just a lot of fun. So Carter, thank you for having this conversation with me. Like I said, I enjoy all the time that we get to spend together. So I'm selfish. So this is my selfish time as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Javati, she's the one that really pushed me to have my own vendor table for the first time. It's something that I really enjoy. It's so related to events, most times at events, but we're both appointment only based businesses. So being able to have that pop up in real life to interact with your audience, build new audience is so pivotal. But yeah, Jevata, it's been a true pleasure. Where can we find you on social media, online, and your business and your book? Just to kind of go over it again.
Okay, so my book, Moving in Place, is on Amazon, but if you were to order it on my website, which is projectmovelv.com, they actually come signed. You know, Amazon, I just can't get it signed over there to Amazon. But if you want a signed copy, you can go on my website, projectmovelv.com, and or find me on social media. I go by, what do I go by? I go by Project Move Movement Services on Facebook, but on Instagram, I'm Project Move _curator.
Curator.
And the reason I chose the word curator, I'm a word person. So like when I was like coming up with this name a lot of years ago, I went through like, you know, I'm through this thesaurus saying which one I wanted to be. And people go, well, they don't even know what a curator is. I said, I don't care. But curator means that you're the person that helps people define and figure out what that's supposed to look like. So I want to be the person that helps you to curate your moves and figure out how to give that move voice life.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, thank you for being on the Entrepreneurs Club podcast.
Thank you.
Definitely stay in tune to the Entrepreneurs Club Facebook group.
Yes.
To stay in tune with some of the listeners, and everyone will be seeing this soon. So
fabulous.
Thank you for being on episode 2. So
episode 2.
Very nice. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys. Thanks for
Bye.
tuning in. Have a good one.